Okay, well, welcome. So today, I hope to be unboxing a 1939 made big book, first edition, first printing big book, Alcoholics Anonymous, known also as Big Red. And then I'm going to tell a little bit. I'm not going to tell like a bunch of history because I know a lot, but I'm not prepared with an outline. But I will tell you this: if you're interested in this video, you'll probably be really interested in this one that I watched prior to getting what I hope here it will be unboxing shortly, a first edition, first printing big book. Recovery Speakers is the YouTube channel, and the video is Alcoholics Anonymous Big Book First Edition, A History. And man, it is a great, I recommend it for anyone in recovery, but particularly if you're interested in the history. It did a great job, and it was required watching for me, I think, a few times before I pulled the trigger on this right here. These things are not cheap. So hopefully be opening this in just a minute and finding out. But anyhow, that's a great resource. There are many great resources. Over my 22 years in recovery, I've had many resources, and probably my best one, and certainly my fondest one, is my sponsor. In fact, he has a big book study at his home. So anyhow, that basically learned a lot about it from him, and then I just learned more through looking. And over 22 years, I have developed a desire and this longing in my heart to have one of these books, these little pieces of history. Of course, any of our big books contain the miracle of the program of Alcoholics Anonymous, but this is a special a thing. And and right now, let's see, if it came out in 39, and this is February 2026. So what are we looking at? 80. Man, my math is horrible. 86 years, 87. I don't know, but so in 13. Okay, so about 87 years. So in 13 years, we're fastly coming up on the 100th anniversary is basically what I'm saying. And I think that what I've noticed over time is these books are not getting any cheaper. And as we get closer to that 100th anniversary, I think that they're likely to become much more valuable. But it is special to own this or to possess this for a time. And I'm going to tell you what I do want to tell you in this is a little bit about my pursuit, and then particularly with this one right here, what I did to hopefully obtain it. And again, we'll be unboxing it here shortly. So part of the process for me, okay, so eBay, of course, is where I've seen these over the last 20 some odd years. And I see them come and go. And when we talk about prices going up or whatever, we always have to remember that it's price and condition. Okay, so although I'm not a book person, I am a real estate broker, 30 years experience. So I know a little bit about negotiation and value and condition and price and the negotiation part, and just leverage, and if you have leverage, and what the strategy is, and how much leverage do you have, and how to find that out. So I think the best tale is going to be just to go through this process. So recently, in over the 22 years, it's been an ebb and flow, right? I'm not always just focused on getting a book, but it's always there, the desire and the revisit. And then, and I'm like, oh, that's too much. And then sure enough, it gets sold, and I'm like, maybe that is the market, So anyhow, let me just start with this. So I'm praying about this one in particular, this latest, whatever you want to call it, bug obsession or whatever, but it's resurfaced, and I'm like, I'm really wanting one of these books, and I'm really looking at the market, and and again, these ones are coming and going, and I'm like, I wish I'd have got that one after all. But one thing I know is I won't always say one better is always coming, but certainly another one that will work is coming. So I'm patient, be patient with it. But anyhow, so I had been praying fervently, I would say, and checking my motives, actually talking to spiritual advisors and saying, hey, look, man, here's what I'm thinking about doing, and here's what I think my motives are, and trying to get that cleared. And I think that my motives are good. So this one so right after this, this one pops up, and I'm like, okay, well, this time, and what I've learned in real estate and in other transactions as a seller in particular is the first person there, that's a very important thing. The early bird gets the worm, okay? Now, I'm saying it's a great worm, but they basically have a better chance. So this time I was like, okay, I've been kind of playing around, but now I've kind of got a strategy. And the next one that comes up, I'm going to not be shy, and I'm going to get in there and I'm going to ask those questions. Now, the danger of asking questions is you're asking questions because it's all the information you want to verify your purchase is not available online, or else you wouldn't be asking. And the concern with asking is once you start asking for pictures of specific things, well, those are going to usually end up on the listing, right? And they're the same questions other people want to know, but they're not asking. Okay, so there's always that. So you have to, anyhow, let's see how it rolled out. So this book comes up on eBay in this particular, and I jumped on it quickly, and I said, good evening. Will you please confirm this is an original, unaltered, and or non-reconditioned first edition, first printing of the AA Big Book? Additionally, I am interested in any provenance you can share. How you came to own the book, history of ownership. I'm a vintage Kramer guitar collector of sorts, and I appreciate the stories behind them where available. I've been interested in I put 1/1 BB for a while. The process behind finding the right one is important. It will be no small investment. Thank you, Rod Smith. Now remember, I'm a 30-year real estate broker. So what is important, I think, in my communication is let's see if I have a like-minded person that I can connect with. So we're going to find out pretty quick. So I had sent that in the evening, and then he had replied in the morning, the following morning. He said, good morning, thank you for reaching out. The book is an original and has been carefully preserved throughout its history. It was first purchased in 1995. So he doesn't mean it was first purchased. He's talking about this is how far back that he can trace the provenance, okay? It was first purchased in 1995 from a gentleman in California who was retired from the Canadian military and had worked for Brink Security, okay? So if you're that guy, I would love to hear from you down there or wherever it is. I don't know, but I'd love to hear from you. And then maybe I can get some history before 95 and continue to build value, man, because that provenance on these items adds value, okay? He says, at the time he was going through a difficult time, I won't say what, and chose to sell the book. The person I received it from, so this is the current seller, the person I received it from later bought it from that gentleman and is now 90 years old, a retired doctor, and has been in the program for 40 years. And he has kept the book stored safely in a secure location ever since, wrapped in archival paper to protect it. As he passed it on, he said, it's time to let someone else enjoy it. Man, now that's a good answer. Okay, what a great start to the conversation. All right, so later that day, that afternoon, I replied back. I said, that's so cool. I love that kind of stuff. I gratefully celebrated 22 years this past October. So I'm trying to now bond that I'm not just like a book collector. And I don't know whether it matters or not, but I'm like I'm giving myself some credibility, you know, and trying to build leverage for myself. So, you know, maybe if this guy's a fellow alcoholic, that he might be more inclined to pass it on to someone who's going to share it and enjoy it. But anyhow, I see you added some pics of the top, bottom, and spine to the listing. So already someone has probably asked him for these pictures. Can you please send me a pic of the back cover? So that would, you know, so here's a lesson. It's not the pictures that you see, it's the ones that you don't see, okay, that will get you, okay? Can you please send me a pic of the back cover and maybe the obligatory pics of VII, page 72 and page 234. Now, VII, I believe is where it is the preface, wherever it talks about how 100 men and women, whatever, who have recovered. Because I recently saw a big book that was claiming to be a first edition, first printing, that said we are now 10,000 or 8,000 or something. And I think that was a 5th edition text inside of a first edition cover. Ouch. Okay. Page 72 would be how it works in the first printing, first edition, first printing. And that's where he says, having had a spiritual experience that was later changed to awakening. So I'm looking to verify that. And then page 34 is the typo with a double space, the double topped sentence, the repeated sentence. Also ask, is there any writing in the book? I like that you included a video. That was really smart. Seller includes the video. I've recently sold a tractor mower on Marketplace, and the guy says, man, you know, you posted a video and you're the only one that posted a video, and that was real smart. So this guy's real smart. Videos are important, selling tool. I said, I like that you included a video. It looks really clean, or rather just right for the provenance. Because man, some of them, they look too good. And then if you'll read, sometimes in the description, they'll say rebound in new red cloth, you know. If it looks too good to be true and the price is too good to be true, I'm not saying it ain't true, but man, watch out. Okay. And thanks again. Okay, so he promptly sent me, or in short order sent me all of the so that's the forward. The forward was that VII. Yeah. He sent me all the pictures that I wanted, and a few extras, which is really cool. If I can share them online, I'll do that. Okay, so then he says in response, there is no handwriting in the book. And man, I love that, because I asked him if there was any writing in the book. Well, of course there's writing, but he was specific to say there's no handwriting in the book, which was really my question. So I appreciated that, you know. And I said, yes, sir, handwriting, thank you. And then let's see. So this is, I think, the second evening. I said, I appreciate that your language is even more precise than mine. Please reaffirm / confirm this. Now, I'm really now, I've looked at everything and I'm like, I'm contemplating now what my offering scenario is going to be. But I'm still a little iffy on the responses. Okay. I appreciate that your language is even more precise than mine. Please reaffirm / confirm this is a 100% authentic, original, made in 1939, first edition, first printing AA Big Book, not a facsimile or reprint, neither altered, repaired, or modified in any way, and that the provenance before 1995 is unknown to you. Did I get that right, please? So within a few minutes, he said, yes, sir, that is correct. And then he sent another one a few minutes after that, it looks like. Yeah. He said the previous owner So this is going to be the doctor with the 40 years. The previous owner confirmed that the book is in its original bound, so I like that language is cool, and that no alterations have been made. Okay. So now I'm running my offer scenarios. I talk to one of my spiritual advisors and I tell him what's going on, and of course he just tells me, well, let me know how it goes, and tell me what to do. Okay, so the next morning, it looks like, no, the next afternoon. Okay, so I'm steady, but I'm not over pursuing, okay? Because if I over pursue, I'll lose leverage. And if someone beats me to the book, well, then again, there's going to be another one. I said, what a beautiful and important book. Okay, so that's genuine and from my heart, right? It would be an honor to own and share. Okay, so, who lights a lamp and hides it under a bed, right? So I know that I'm going to be sharing this book. But I talk about that too, in what ways to share. How is it wise to share? How is it wise to store? These are some problems, high-class problems, I guess, or first world problems, I think we like to call them, that I'm going to need to deal with. I said, please consider my offer of blank. I'm going to obviously not tell you about that is, but please consider my offer of blank. And then here's how I build that. And it's also, I didn't think about it, but back when I was buying an eBay a long time ago, these guitars and stuff, they didn't have sales tax. Okay. Well, the price of these big books, man, not only do they have sales tax, but it's hefty. And I didn't even think about it when I was calculating my offer at first. And then I was like, whoa, glad I thought of it. I said, please consider my offer of blank. Sales tax will be near blank. I said, if my bid were accepted, I request UPS shipping at my expense, insured to the total acquisition cost, signature required. Because he had just put up there like he's going to send it for $5 on US Post or something. And I went on to elaborate a little bit more, and I told him, I said, so all that will put me at a total of around blank. And I said, a substantial sum for me. So I'm letting him know that is a lot of money to me. And I said, not that it matters, right? Because it doesn't matter if it's a lot of money. It doesn't matter to him if it's a lot of money to me, except for if he's thinking, well, to me, that's me communicating to him that, look, this is a lot of money, that I think it's a fair offer. I said, let me know, and I will submit through the eBay offer link. Thank you for the correspondence. Respectfully, Rod Smith. Okay, so here's why we've communicated all this through eBay, but the reason why I wanted to communicate the offer in this manner is because a lot of times if you just submit the offer through eBay and they have a reserve or something, it's like an auto decline. If you don't hit your offer can just be rejected. So, and you don't really have a good opportunity to pitch. So that's part of the leverage too, man. And part of my strategy is to, hit him with these things that I talked about: my emotional connection, the logic behind the offer, giving him the big picture, and then that way I get to pitch my bid and it not just be rejected, and whatever. Okay, so I sent that, and let me tell you, this was not an easy thing, because even though it wasn't through eBay, I know that my word is my bond, and if I tell him I'm going to make this deal, then I have to, or it's more like I get to, but in this case, I have to, and it's a lot of money. Okay, that's not easy, man. That's like wiring hundreds of thousands of dollars on a real estate deal, make you pucker a little bit. So I submitted that at 3:30 that afternoon, and then you just sat there just nervous. Well, nervous what he's going to say, nervous if he takes it, nervous if he rejects it. I'm a little nervous. So the next morning at 10 a.m., he says, "Good morning, Rod. I appreciate and accept your offer. I can get the package sent by Monday." So that's 8:05 a.m. Oh, it was 8:05 a.m. the following day. So at 10 a.m., I promptly did what I said I was going to do and submitted the offer through eBay. And then he quickly accepted it. And then I had some issues with the legitimate payment method. And I said, but the thing is I'm communicating with him. Okay, this is like a Saturday. I said, good afternoon. I've been on the phone with eBay on 3 occasions. My legitimate payment method is being rejected as they can see no reason for it at their support level. They promised to escalate to their IT department and expect resolution within 24 hours. I've been instructed to try again at that time. My financial institution has approved the charge twice and saying the merchant, which would be eBay, sent it back. I regret the delay, Rod. A few minutes later, he said, no problem. The book is yours. It's not going anywhere. I appreciate you keeping me posted. So, man, I mean, the communication, it's like I'm talking to myself. You know, like I'm on both sides. So, and then I waited 24 hours, not a minute sooner, but right when it hit 24 hours, I tried again, and sure enough, they had it fixed and it worked. So kudos to eBay for getting that fixed. I said, yay, it worked. Please use care with the ship to address. I know you will, but for example, and I told him, you know, some quirks about my address. I asked him to send it UPS. He ended sending it USPS, which is fine. And I want to tell you too, with the tracking, the thing with USPS, what I've noticed is their tracking just seems to kind of be delayed. It looks like there's no updates aren't as frequent. Now, I don't know that for sure, and I want to be fair. I'm fond of my postal carriers and all that. But he ended up doing that. And I said, hey, look, man, these are the things I want you to do, and I'll cover the shipping. And he says again, I appreciate you keeping me posted. I plan on going to the post office in the morning to send the book. I will send it to you as requested. Once I have the total price of what it costs, I can reach out to you with details. So this is trust, right? That is earned through good communication. And actually doing what you say you're going to do goes a long way. Once I get the information, can I reach out to the number you provided in the buyer's information section to discuss getting the money back? Once again, thank you. Said, yes, of course, whatever is needed. I can send payment by whatever method for the shipping, if that works for you, just a suggestion. And he suggested a different medium, which I have. He says, I'll send you a picture of the receipt when the order is sent to your number. That will provide you with the tracking as well. I said, perfect. I have Zelle. I have, whatever. I have the Cash Apps, whatever the payment method, PayPal, what they all are. But we decided on one, and I said, I have that. Thank you for the updates. I appreciate it. And he says, no problem. So that was the end of the communication through that. So then we start communicating through text, and basically all that consisted of was, hey, the tracking is not showing. Well, it showed it was like received by the shipper, which I think was one of those posted kind of places, we post or whatever they're called. And it just took time, and an error came up saying it's not a valid tracking ID, and just all that stuff. But it was obvious, you wait a day and it's making it through the system. And of course, I'm just beside myself. So here we are. The mailman has just left. Of course, I ran out to meet him, and he's probably wondering why I was taking pictures of the USPS truck that delivered this thing. But anyhow, I'm very excited, and now let's see what we got here. Okay, so excited. I see red. Whew. And there's a lot of bubble wrap in there. Oh, wow. Look here. Oh my goodness. Look at that. Woo, check that out, man. Is that nice or what? Oh, you should smell. You remember some of y'all might have 1984 was required reading George Orwell. They had smell-o-vision. Maybe one of these days. So I wish y'all could smell this. It smells like one of those old Superman. Guess you can't fake that. Look at that. It's pretty clean, right? Now I've noticed this on a lot of these big books. It looks like maybe the glue underneath the page had some effect here. I used to think it was like, hey, maybe it's the books that they were, against and that dust got to it. But I'm more convinced, especially looking at this one, that the glue affects it. And there's what we would expect to see there. Okay, it's not perfect and it's not just bouncing out at you. And then that right there, Works Publishing. I don't know if y'all can see that. I hope I don't have this backwards. Look at that. I'm so excited. And there's the back. I think we have a real deal Holyfield here. Okay, let's take a look. Okay, so this is what I would expect to see here, right? You have the cover, and then you can see that, like the glue, right? Where they glued this in. Not re-glued, but glued. I think they call it an end page. I can't remember. But you would expect to see this. Now, a lot of times when these books come apart, they'll take this and re-glue it to a new cover or the old cover, whatever. So it's good to see that it's intact. As you can see, there's no writing. Everything is as expected. So the next page is, I guess they call it the title page. Isn't that cool? Look at this big giant book. Whew, I wish I could smell it. Amazing. I hope I never forget that smell. There's that there. And then here's what we would expect to see here. Story of how more than 100 men have recovered from alcoholism. Works Publishing. See that? Isn't that cool? All right. And then a lot of people say, you'll know it's a first edition because it'll say first printing, because it'll say first edition, first printing. Well, it doesn't, okay? It just says, well, it says this, okay? Because they didn't know. I mean, I'm surprised. I know Bill was real optimistic. Surprised he didn't say first edition, first printing. But, it just says this, okay? And then right down here is that. Now, that book I was telling you about earlier, that, okay, I'll get to it. Then you have your table of contents, okay? No writing in this book. Okay, and then there's that continued. Now here's a good one to point out. This story right here, Lone Endeavor, I hear was ghost written by, who is it, that secretary? I get Ruth Hawk and Nell Wing confused on which one's which, and I apologize for that. I think it's, I don't want to say. But she ghost wrote this story based off of a letter. This is a really interesting story too, which is probably covered in that Recovery Speakers video I was telling you about. Okay, then you got the foreword. Okay, so that book I was telling you about that was quasi-reporting as a first edition, first hot squiggly line printing, had, you could only see part of this, but I could see where here it's supposed to say Alcoholics Anonymous, we of Alcoholics Anonymous are more than 100 men and women who have recovered, okay? And then over here, is it, you know, this is what this looks like over here. That book that was purporting to me, appeared to be purporting it was a first edition, first printing. If you look closely here, you could see the words, something changed over here and it talked about more than 10,000 or 8,000. I think it said 10,000. Whatever's in the fifth edition, fifth printing rather, is what was showing here. And then you could also see just a part of this page where, and you could see the word 1,000 or 10,000. I don't remember exactly, okay? But man, I was like, that's kind of, someone's going to be disappointed when they find that out. Because I've never heard, and I'm not saying it couldn't happen, but anyhow, it doesn't matter. Even if there was red cloth left over, I'm telling you, in that one book, it had this page right here, looked just like that. So I'm thinking that it got swapped from here on, and that's just, I don't know, man. You just got to watch out. You got to watch out. You got to watch videos like Recovery Speakers, Alcoholics Anonymous Big Book First Editions of History, and you got to watch things like this, okay? If you're thinking about this, or if you just want to know, okay? So then you got the doctor's opinion, and it is, of course, page number 1. Okay, so that's another thing, first edition, first printing. If you know that you learn about, right, is it's no longer, it didn't start as Roman numerals, it started as page 1. All right, and then let's go to the other things that I've been taught to look out for, and that's going to be page 72, right here. Okay, and right here it says, having had a spiritual experience. All right, so it says that right here in step 12. So as of the second printing, that was changed to spiritual awakening. Okay, so they didn't like that spiritual experience thing because not everyone had that blinding. Not everyone has, it's more of a gradual process as we learn. All right, so that's there. And then I think 234 was the other one I was asking about. So let's get to that. I need my glasses and a light. Let's see. Man, this is just incredible. Okay. So right here, you see that double line? It's the same line twice. So there it is. And excuse me. And I want to tell you one more thing that I think I've never heard. I'm sure other people have found this out, and I don't know the specifics yet. So if you know, drop a comment, please help us out. But I found another. What I think is a typo, and the reason I think that is because I don't see it in later editions, but it's in the 75th anniversary reprint of this book, which looks to me like a great homage to this book. In fact, it's almost too good, but don't come with that smell. It's almost too good, and we can talk. I'm probably making some more videos after this, but this one's about this book here. But anyhow, what I noticed in that book, if it's a printing here, and I'm about to find out, is that at the pages alternate, like from the, well here, let me look on this one. Okay, so on the left-hand page, it says the title of the book, Alcoholics Anonymous, and then on the right-hand page, it says a chapter like to wives, but in this one, it says, at the last page of We Agnostics, which is on the right-hand side, it doesn't say We Agnostics, it says Alcoholics Anonymous again. And I'm like, that has to be a typo. So my sponsor looked on his book, or I looked in his book, whatever, and sure enough, like his maybe a, I don't know what edition, but a later edition. And sure enough, they had fixed it and alternated it back from title on the left of the book to title of the chapter on the right. So I'm going to look in here and see if that is also how this one is, because that 75th anniversary, it was just outstanding. Yep, there it is. Okay, so I've never seen this before. I've never had it pointed out. I'm sure others have. I've never heard it in 20-something years, but there you go. Okay, you got Alcoholics Anonymous here, and this should say "We Agnostics." That was missed, and it was later corrected. And I'd be real curious: was it corrected by the second printing? Again, I think my sponsors was like maybe the 10th or 12th printing, and it had been fixed by his time, so then I knew it was an error when I looked at it, and then I can see it obviously in here, saw it in the repop. But anyhow, that is my story of how to acquire one of these, or how I acquired one that has no writing, beautiful condition. I mean, it's not mint, you know. But I just feel very honored to own it. And I hope that this video has inspired you to be more passionate maybe about your recovery, the history of our life-giving material, which of course is, I don't know how to say it, but anyhow, this is some life-giving program. Certainly has made a huge difference in my life, and if it weren't for Alcoholics Anonymous, I probably never ever be in a position to have this book. And you can say, well, you'd probably never want to own it, but I'm very excited to have it. I'm looking forward to having it for a long time and sharing it. In fact, I'm going to take it right on over to my sponsor's house and share it with him. And there it is. Your first edition, first printing, 1939, Big Red, Alcoholics Anonymous. All right. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye.